So this week we've been thinking about Jesus as the Good Shepherd, and we're also thinking about Vocation Sunday, the question of what are we called to? What is Jesus as the Good Shepherd calling us and leading us to? So, John, what was your initial reaction to thinking about Vocation Sunday, particularly this year?
This year I was just like, ah! um, I have to say I am not really dealing that well with the coronavirus crisis. I'm suffering with stress and anxiety, and just a lot of the time just feeling stupidly tired. So my first thought was, how on earth can I think about vocation when I can barely do the basic things of life? Um, and it just felt like, gosh, thinking about vocation is just a shortcut to feeling very, very guilty very, very fast. And I thought, well, really what I need to do is stop thinking about all these things that I should be doing and can't, and kind of just be, concentrate on just being where I am. But then it kind of struck me that actually that is part of our vocation, probably the kind of really basic vocation as Christians, to be ourselves, who we are, where we are.
Yeah, well, so for me, vocations is kind of a topic that I'm constantly thinking about and constantly wondering about. But obviously, this year, particularly for Vocation Sunday, it has to be different. And so, one of the things that kind of struck me first was that actually, because I'm someone who's exploring a vocation to monastic life, so to being a monk, it struck me that actually there's a lot that I think the monastic life can teach us in lockdown. They've been staying in their monastery, staying at home for centuries, and learning how to be in that place and how to accept how you are and how others are with you, and learning how to be okay with that. And there was a particular a saying that really seems relevant to me from the desert tradition. So back in the sort of 4th century, there was quite a few people who would go out and live as hermits in the Egyptian desert, and they would give sayings to each other. So there's a saying from Abba Moses, where he says, "Go sit in your cell, and your cell will teach you everything." Your cell being the place you live, not prison or anything, but just being in this place and staying there, and that is our vocation. That is all we need to do, to just be.
I've been feeling a definite sense of loss about certain things that I can't do, and I think that might be a useful thing to think about in terms of not vocation now, but perhaps where we're being led to in our vocations. The things that we have a sense of loss about, uh, almost a sense of pain that they're absent. Those things might be things that are pointers to where we might end up in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of the question of what are our individual vocations, and then there's also the question of what is our vocation as a whole, as a group. And I really hope that, thinking really broadly as a society, I really hope that we don't just go back to normal. We're all hoping that things will become a bit more normal and a bit more like what we used to. But actually, I really hope that we use this time to reevaluate, to notice what are those things that we really feel lost about, and to value those more in the future. And to also notice the things that maybe we don't miss as much, and which actually we can recognise aren't as helpful or as positive for us. And then particularly thinking about this question for the church, none of us like change, and it feels like we've really been just thrown into the midst of it. Like, instead of being able to have conversations for years to prepare for it, we're here, and this is what we do now. And I hope again that we don't just try and go back to normal once we can, theoretically. I hope that we really look at what we do and what has really been of value, especially during this time where it's been more difficult. and that we reimagine what the church's future is.
So we've got a bunch of things there then to think about in vocations. The idea of, this is a good time to reevaluate. This is a time when we can use a sense of loss perhaps to help us with that reevaluation. But fundamentally, part of our vocation for now is being. Where you are, however unchosen, is the place of blessing. How you are, however broken, is the place of grace. Who you are in your becoming is your place in the kingdom.